The Hazari admiral erupted with condescending laughter as the viewscreen displayed a tiny, primitive human scout ship, chemical rockets flaring against the void of space, a rusted pea-shooter of a vessel trembling before the alien warship's planet-shattering armaments. "Scan that trash heap flying the Earth flag," Admiral Janus commanded, mandibles clicking together in amusement. "Let's see what junk weaponry this so-called Captain Robert Bryant has strapped to his ship before we crush him like the insignificant bug he is." Sensor data flooded the command console. Projectile cannons, unguided rockets, not even the faintest whisper of an energy shield. This was almost too easy. The human craft violated 17 different intragalactic weapons treaties just by existing. "Attention, human vessel," Janus broadcast on all frequencies. "Your ship is an affront to civilized space travel. Power down your engines and surrender immediately or be annihilated." A tense silence followed as seconds ticked by. The bridge crew glanced at each other nervously. No one had ever defied a Hazari ultimatum and lived. To challenge the Dominion's supreme authority was to court swift destruction. Finally, the communications console crackled to life. "This is Captain Robert Bryant of Earth Scout Ship Defiance. With all due respect, Admiral Janus, I'm afraid we must decline your surrender demand. We will not abandon our mission or forsake our duty as soldiers of Earth." Janus slammed a clawed fist on the armrest of his command chair, leaving deep gouges in the metal. "Imbeciles! I offer you a final chance to avoid obliteration and you spit in my face. So be it. You've sealed your fate, human. All cannons prepare to—" Alarms blared as new sensor contacts lit up the command console. Janus's eyes widened in disbelief as an entire human battle fleet dropped out of warp, appearing as if from nowhere, guns charged and shields raised. The lone scout ship had been nothing but a distraction, a sacrificial pawn to lure the Hazari warship into a deadly trap. In that moment, as the first salvo of human missiles shredded through the alien shields like paper, Admiral Janus realized how gravely he had underestimated this upstart species from a backwater world called Earth. His hubris would cost the Hazari dearly, as humanity rained retribution on the overconfident alien oppressors. The human battle fleet unleashed a merciless barrage on the Hazari warship, missiles and energy beams ripping through its once impenetrable defenses. In the heart of the chaos, Captain Bryant steered the Defiance towards the crippled alien command ship, his eyes locked on the prize. On the bridge of his ruined vessel, Admiral Janus slammed his fist against the flickering control panel. "All units, fall back. Regroup at the designated coordinates." The humans had played him for a fool, and now retreat was his only option. Bryant watched the Hazari ships turn tail and run, but he wasn't about to let them escape so easily. "Novak, assemble a boarding party. We're going after Janus." "Aye, Captain." Lieutenant Alex Novak saluted crisply before rounding up a squad of Earth's finest soldiers. The Defiance latched onto the Hazari command ship like a hungry predator, cutting through its hull with plasma torches. Bryant led the charge, pulse rifle at the ready as they stormed the alien corridors. Elite Hazari guards swarmed to meet them, their chitinous armor deflecting the initial volley of gunfire. The humans took cover, returning fire with practiced precision. Novak lobbed a grenade, the explosion sending shrapnel and shattered exoskeletons flying. They pushed deeper into the ship, overriding security lockdowns and neutralizing automated turrets. Every step was paid for in blood and sweat, but Bryant's team pressed on, determined to complete their mission. Suddenly, a hail of plasma bolts tore through their formation. Novak cried out in pain, clutching his seared abdomen as he crumpled to the deck. Bryant rushed to his side, applying pressure to the wound. "Stay with me, Alex, that's an order." Bryant's voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed the anguish he felt seeing his friend wounded in battle. Novak gritted his teeth, his face pale. "I'll be fine, sir. Complete the mission." Bryant nodded solemnly, the weight of Novak's sacrifice steeling his resolve. He signaled for a medic to tend to the fallen lieutenant while he forged ahead with the remaining squad. They finally breached the command center, smoke and sparks filling the air. Admiral Janus stood defiantly at the center of the chaos, his claws bared. You've won nothing, human, Janus hissed. The Hazari Dominion will crush your pathetic species beneath our heel. Bryant discarded his rifle and stepped forward, fists raised. Not on my watch, you oversized cockroach. The two commanders clashed in a whirlwind of strikes and counterstrikes, human fist against Hazari claw. They traded blows across the shattered bridge, a microcosm of the greater war between their civilizations. With a final decisive uppercut, Bryant sent Janus crashing to the floor, the once proud alien admiral reduced to a bleeding, broken mess. The captain zip-tied Janus's hands and hauled him to his feet. "Secure the data cores and prisoner," Bryant ordered his team. "Let's get the hell out of here." As they made their escape, Bryant ensured Novak was safely transported back to the Defiance's medical bay. The young lieutenant had given everything for Earth, and Bryant silently vowed to honor that sacrifice, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, Bryant and his team stepped out of the Defiance to a hero's welcome. Cheering crowds, flashing cameras, and grateful politicians greeted them at every turn. Bryant accepted their accolades with a stoic nod, his mind already racing ahead to the next challenge. In the debriefing room, Earth's leaders pored over the intelligence gathered from the Hazari command ship. The room fell silent as the true scale of the impending threat became clear. "This was just a scouting force," Admiral Jameson said, his face grim. "The bulk of their invasion fleet is still out there, and they'll be coming for us." All eyes turned to Bryant. He took a deep breath, the weight of the world on his shoulders. "We have to strike first," he said, his voice steady. "A covert mission, deep into Hazari space. We find their main shipyards and take them out before they can launch their full-scale attack." The room erupted into a cacophony of objections and doubts, but Bryant stood his ground. He laid out his plan, detailing the risks and the potential rewards. Slowly, the tide of opinion turned in his favor. Earth's leadership, desperate for a solution, green-lit the mission. Bryant wasted no time assembling his team. He handpicked the best soldiers and pilots from around the globe, each one a specialist in their field. Among them was Sergeant Jack Ryder, a battle-hardened infantry veteran with a gruff demeanor and a penchant for insubordination. "I don't take orders from flyboys," Ryder growled when Bryant first approached him. "Especially not ones with a death wish." Bryant didn't flinch. "You'll take orders from me, Sergeant, and if we don't pull this off, we'll all be dead anyway." As the team began their training, Bryant found himself haunted by memories of his past. He thought of his wife, killed in a Hazari raid years ago, and his son, now a fighter pilot in Earth's fleet. They'd barely spoken since her death, each dealing with the grief in their own way. One night, as the team ran drills in the simulator, Bryant's son confronted him. "Why are you doing this, Dad?" he asked, his voice strained. "Why risk everything on a suicide mission?" Bryant looked his son in the eye, seeing the pain and anger reflected there. "Because someone has to," he said softly. "Because if we don't stop them out there, they'll bring the fight to us, and I won't let what happened to your mother happen to anyone else." As the launch date approached, Bryant pushed his team harder than ever. Ryder, despite his initial reservations, began to respect the captain's leadership and dedication. The once disparate group of individuals started to coalesce into a cohesive unit, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. On the eve of the mission, Bryant gathered his team for a final briefing. He looked around the room, taking in the determined faces of the men and women who would be risking their lives alongside him. "You all know what's at stake," he said, his voice steady. "The Hazari think they can crush us, that we're weak and divided. But they're wrong. We're the best Earth has to offer, and we're going to show them what happens when you mess with humanity." As the team boarded their ships, ready to embark on the most dangerous mission of their lives, Bryant and his hand-picked team boarded the captured Hazari stealth ship, their faces set with grim determination. They had trained for this moment, honing their skills and forging unbreakable bonds of trust. As the sleek vessel slipped out of Earth's orbit and into the inky depths of space, Bryant felt the weight of his mission settling on his shoulders. Navigating through enemy territory was a nerve-wracking experience. The team had to constantly adjust their course to avoid Hazari patrols, their hearts pounding with each close call. Bryant and Ryder pored over star charts, plotting the safest route to the shipyards. During one particularly tense encounter, a Hazari frigate suddenly appeared on their sensors. The team froze, barely daring to breathe as the enemy ship drew closer. Ryder's fingers flew across the controls, his brow furrowed in concentration. With a deft maneuver, he sent out a burst of jamming signals masking their presence just as the frigate passed by. Bryant clapped Ryder on the shoulder, a rare smile cracking his stoic facade. "Nice work, Sergeant. Looks like I was right to bring you along." Ryder grinned back, the respect between them palpable. "Just doing my job, sir." As they neared the Hazari shipyards, a message from Earth Command crackled through the comms. Bryant's blood ran cold as he listened to the report. His son's fighter squadron had been ambushed, their status unknown. Images of his wife's death flashed through his mind, the pain as raw as ever. Ryder found him in the ship's small galley, staring blankly at a display screen. "Sir, is everything all right?" Bryant took a deep breath, pushing down the emotions threatening to overwhelm him. "The Hazari hit my son's squadron. No word on survivors." Ryder's face hardened. He knew the price of war all too well. "What do you want to do, sir?" Bryant closed his eyes, the decision tearing at his very soul. But deep down he knew what he had to do. Earth needed him. "We press on, Sergeant. We finish what we started." The team infiltrated the shipyards under the cover of darkness. They split into smaller groups, each with a specific target. Bryant and Ryder took the lead, planting explosives on the main reactor core. The other teams hit the command center and data storage facilities, stealing as much intel as they could. Just as they were about to regroup, alarms blared throughout the complex. Hazari soldiers swarmed from every direction, plasma rifles blazing. Bryant and his team fought back with everything they had, taking cover behind crates and machinery. In the chaos of the firefight, Bryant found himself cut off from the others. A hulking Hazari commander emerged from the smoke, his eyes glinting with malice. The two warriors clashed in a brutal dance of fists and fury, trading blows across the blood-soaked floor. Bryant felt his ribs crack under the alien's relentless assault, but he pushed through the pain. With a final, desperate surge of strength, he brought his knee up into the commander's chin, feeling the satisfying crunch of exoskeleton. The Hazari slumped to the ground, out cold. Battered but unbroken, Bryant limped back to his team. They had to move fast now, the clock ticking down to detonation. Ryder supported Bryant as they raced through the crumbling shipyards, dodging debris and enemy fire. The stolen stealth ship loomed ahead, their only hope of escape. As plasma bolts sizzled past them, Bryant and his team raced through the crumbling shipyard, their stolen stealth ship tantalizingly close. Ryder half-dragged, half-carried a wounded Bryant, the captain's blood seeping through his torn combat suit. The rest of the team laid down covering fire, their faces grim with determination. Suddenly a searing pain tore through Bryant's side, and he stumbled, nearly taking Ryder down with him. A Hazari sniper had found its mark, the high-powered plasma round shredding through Bryant's armor like tissue paper. "Captain's hit," Ryder yelled, his voice barely audible over the cacophony of battle. He hoisted Bryant over his shoulder, ignoring the searing pain in his own leg where a plasma bolt had grazed him moments before. The team redoubled their efforts, pouring everything they had into reaching the ship. Private Olivia Mendez, the team's demolitions expert, lobbed a series of grenades behind them, the explosions buying them precious seconds. As they neared the ship, a fresh wave of Hazari reinforcements poured into the hangar, their weapons spitting deadly fire. Ryder, his face etched with grim determination, made a split-second decision. "Get the captain to the ship," he barked, handing Bryant off to Mendez and Private Lucas Reyes. "I'll hold them off." Bryant, his consciousness fading, tried to protest. "No, Ryder, don't—" But Ryder was already moving, his rifle blazing as he charged the Hazari lines. He wove between crates and machinery, his shots finding their marks with deadly precision. The Hazari focused their fire on him, giving the rest of the team the opening they needed. Mendez and Reyes half-carried, half-dragged Bryant up the ship's ramp, the captain's blood leaving a slick trail behind them. The rest of the team piled in, their faces ashen as they realized Ryder wasn't with them. "We can't leave him," Reyes shouted, his voice cracking with emotion. But Mendez, her eyes hard, shook her head. "He made his choice. We have to go now." With a final anguished look back at the hangar, they sealed the ship's hatch. The pilot, Lieutenant Nora Singh, punched the engines, and the stealth ship roared out of the hangar just as the first explosions began to rip through the shipyard. Bryant, barely clinging to consciousness, watched through the viewport as the Hazari facility erupted into a series of blinding fireballs. Somewhere in that inferno was Ryder, his friend, his brother-in-arms, sacrificing himself so that the mission could succeed. As the darkness closed in around him, Bryant's last thought was of Ryder, and the promise he made to himself that his sacrifice would not be in vain. The journey back to Earth passed in a blur for Bryant, his mind hazy with pain and grief. Medics worked tirelessly to stabilize him, but he barely registered their presence. All he could think about was Ryder and the other brave souls who had given their lives for the mission. When they finally reached Earth, Bryant was rushed to a secure military hospital. He underwent hours of surgery, the doctors working to repair the damage done by the Hazari sniper. When he finally regained consciousness, he found himself in a sterile hospital room, his body wrapped in bandages, and hooked up to a maze of tubes and monitors. General Samantha Davis, the head of Earth's Defense Forces, was waiting for him. She stood at the foot of his bed, her face lined with a mix of pride and concern. "You did it, Captain," she said, her voice soft. "The Hazari shipyards are destroyed. You've bought us precious time." Bryant tried to sit up, wincing at the pain that lanced through his body. "But at what cost, General? Ryder, the others?" Davis nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Their sacrifices will not be forgotten. You've given us a fighting chance, Bryant, and we're going to make it count." She handed him a datapad, the screen filled with images of massive, gleaming ships under construction in hidden Earth shipyards. "We've been busy while you were away. Reverse-engineered Hazari tech, combined with our own innovations. This is just the beginning." Bryant felt a flicker of hope amidst the grief and pain. Earth was fighting back, united in the face of annihilation, but that hope was tempered by a growing sense of unease. "My son," he said, his voice hoarse, "his squadron." Davis's face fell, and Bryant felt his heart clench. "They were ambushed," she said softly. "Your son, he's alive, but critically injured. The doctors are doing everything they can." Bryant closed his eyes, tears slipping down his cheeks. The price of war paid in blood and heartbreak. In the days that followed, as Bryant recovered from his wounds, he threw himself into the planning for Earth's defense. He pored over intelligence reports, studied the capabilities of the new ships, and worked with the other commanders to devise strategies to counter the Hazari threat. And every day he visited his son in the hospital, watching as the young man fought for his life. He held his hand, whispered words of encouragement, and made a silent promise that he would do whatever it took to keep his son and all of Earth safe. Finally, the day came when Bryant stood before the War Council, his uniform crisp and his eyes hard with determination. He laid out the intel they had gathered, the weaknesses they had identified in the Hazari forces. And he presented a daring plan, one that would take the fight to the enemy, using Earth's new fleet of advanced ships. There were murmurs of doubt and concern, but Bryant stood firm. "We have to strike now," he said, his voice ringing with conviction, "before they have a chance to regroup and come at us with everything they have. This is our chance to turn the tide." Slowly, one by one, the other leaders nodded their assent. Earth would fight united as never before. In the hangar bay, as the fleet prepared for launch, Bryant stood before his ship, his eyes fixed on the stars above. He thought of Ryder, of his son, of all the brave men and women who had given their lives in this war. And he thought of the battle to come, the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. As he stepped onto the bridge, the crew snapping to attention, Bryant felt a sense of calm wash over him. This was his destiny, his duty, to lead, to fight, to protect. He settled into the command chair, his eyes hard with resolve. All ships prepare for jump. We have a war to win. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.